In this video, I share with you a brief conversation that I had with Annie Monaco. Annie Monaco is a teacher of mine. I've learned a lot from her. We've worked together on some projects. She's an EMDR approved basic trainer. She's a registered play therapist, and she's a good friend of mine. Well, I heard that she was teaching a course on how to work with children, teenagers, adolescents that sometimes present with resistance. And I love this story. Now, please know that this story is shared with consent, and many of the details are left out to remain confidentiality. But it's just a beautiful story. You can see her heart and her wisdom shine through. I plan to attend the course, and I hope you will too. All right, here's our conversation. This is with Annie Monaco.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting case because he's 15 years old and Jackie, if he said 5 to 6 words to me per session, that was a lot. And so I demonstrate through the transcript how I use art. I use his drawings. I ask him to draw things, and I used clay. And then I would ask questions because I didn't know why he was pooping his pants. And 15 years, well, 13, you start toilet training, right? And so it was through all of that that I figured out what the trauma was. And it's not what everybody thinks. It's something, different. And it was through that and just getting him to do that. Even now, I saw him yesterday. He just doesn't speak a whole lot. It's
Yeah.
just not him, but we do therapy. And so the other piece of this is, dad walked in his first session with me and said, I don't believe in therapy. I don't like therapists.
Oh,
And dad was the one that ended up healing him with the EMDR. And it was the final session with dad and him. And the next day after that EMDR session with dad, he stopped pooping his pants. And it's been 6 months of nothing. It's just an incredible story of just how I worked with all of them to get them to this place. Um,
sounds like safety and connection, and you didn't force him to speak. You didn't force him
yes.
to fit in any kind of mold. And you said something about like the rhythm of a yoga ball and
Yeah.
attunement.
Yeah, like so we did a lot of our work on a yoga ball because he would dissociate. He would go back in his eyes and he would fall on the floor. And so I had to find ways to keep him grounded. So we would do the yoga ball as I would do EMDR. And we did EMDR in many different ways. We did a soccer ball back and forth. We did my eye movements. We did pulsers. We did, like a magic wand, just many different things. I had him go side to side on the yoga ball. So it was, and so there's lots of different things in the transcript. It's really very detailed on how I did it with the whole family.
Oh my goodness, I love, love, love it. I can't wait to take this course. Can you tell us just briefly about what the course entails?
Yeah, so a big part of it is how to engage the caregivers. And so, what most therapists do is leave the caregivers out of teenagers because they're so challenging, right? And so Nicole, who's my co-trainer of the course, we were trained in a family therapy called functional family therapy. And so we use a lot of those concepts to teach therapists how do you engage the parents? How do you get them involved in preparation phase? So I don't really start doing EMDR till I have the parents on board. Because then, if this teenager's back in a home that's volatile or constant fighting, EMDR is very hard to implement with the situation going on like that. And
Yeah,
so,
we have to be
so
like
that's a
safety
big
and
part
involved.
of it. My transcript, we talk about attachment. I teach my future self, which is coming out in the creative arts book that's coming out, I think in November. So it's
Your stuff is in there? Is the
yeah,
one with Jocelyn?
yes, yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yes,
her. Oh my
yeah.
gosh,
So
I
my
you gotta
yeah,
do.
yeah. So I have a chapter on future self intervention. So that comes alive in this course too, because all teens you have to do future self with. You have to.
Oh,
You have to engage them because they're never going to look at you and go, "Yeah, let's do EMDR. It sounds great, Annie."
yeah,
Usually they're like this, kicking their feet on their table, going, "I ain't talking to you, lady."
mm,
Right? So the engagement has to be about who are you in 10 years? in 10 years, do you really think you're going to be pooping your pants? Is what I said to this kid. And he looked at me and he goes, no. And I go, right. So let's figure out how to get you there, right? You're not going to be doing this in 10 years, right? You're not going to be committing crimes in 10 years. You're not going to be fighting with your parents. You're going to be out, right? So we teach therapists, how do you engage?